So I guess first I should say it's not done. It's getting close, but it's not quite done yet. And then second, I'd like to say thank you to Laura for helping so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I constantly feel like I'm badgering her. How do I do this? What is this? I know you already told me once, but can you tell me again? So she's very patient with me. And she's also helped a ton with just the structure of it. So I guess just kind of generally to go through the course, it's a World Civ class, so it's 112. It's an intro core class essentially, but it's essentially world history since 1500. And this is actually for the summer session, for summer one. So yeah, so that's why I'm working frantically to try and finish it, because of course I've left more than to the end than I wanted to, but trying to get it up and going for the summer. This semester has been my first semester right now, first semester teaching online. So I've been both learning a lot here and then be able to apply it to that, and realizing at the start of the semester, I literally I came in and I'm like, please help me. And Laura's actually sat down and like got me started. So I've, in the reflection part, I feel like I've grown a lot just understanding this. So that's one reason why. So we have it set up as weeks here. I'm going to be teaching the same class in the fall. So I anticipate changing the Start Here page to probably being the content page as well, since there'll be 15 weeks of content rather than 5. But since it's summer, we can just put them here, and then we have this here. So the two things that aren't finished, of course, is the welcome video, and then I have another lecture that I need to do, mostly because I really don't like the sound of my voice and the thought of the video. So I haven't been able to do it yet. So I practiced, but nothing I'm going to put up for everybody to see yet. So.
I do all of mine recording our video.
Yeah, I just except for the welcome.
Yeah. So.
The last thing I did.
So yeah, so that's kind of how we organized it. So we just have the Start Here in the syllabus, so kind of the important information here, and then just others like keep people updated, and then the weeks for the summer term, and then the various tools for the students to use. So we tried to keep it very streamlined and simple, but yet have everything kind of there that the students would maybe need to, especially because this is, at least my experience this semester with it has been that a lot of these students, this is the first time ever taking an online course. And so I'm anticipating for the summer, especially, it might be the first time I've ever taken an online summer course too. So a lot of it is just, they're not even used to Blackboard, let alone used to any of the tools and stuff like that. So being a summer course and being the first time anticipating a lot of new people, I've tried to actually scale down what my expectations were, I guess how I do things. So I relied pretty much on discussion boards and a bit on VoiceThread too, to do some things. So I was very ambitious in my goals at first, and then I started realizing like how much I was expecting the students to do, and kind of practicing this semester and realizing like it was kind of too much for a lot of them to do. So on the first page, it's just a lot of the information's in the video, the syllabus, the course calendar, all of these are links directly to them so that they can click on it and see like the whole course, like by week, what's going on, the expectations, things like that. And then I put the grading, all the expectations for the various assignments that they're going to be doing, and then the books. And this is actually a suggestion you made that I love, and I'm going to put in my regular syllabus, is actually putting the image on it, because I usually bring my books like to my face-to-face class, and they're all like, here, can I take a picture of it? So it's so funny, and then I'm like, it's definitely a different generation anymore. But I think it's super helpful. And honestly, the syllabus template you guys have, it's so useful. I'm going to probably incorporate a lot of this into my face-to-face class. And so I guess just to show you, I guess, a typical week, week 2 is the first full week that they have. The first week 1 is mostly introductory stuff that I'm having to do, like skills-based stuff. And so this first week, they just I have the agenda up here, and I divided it into 3 things, which you can't see. But, and I tried to color code it so that they would know it's based kind of on the grading. I grade by categories, weighted categories. And so they know kind of what's being graded, but also like just some sort of organizing factor. So like all the orange, that's the readings, and they actually have a content quiz that they can take. And that's something I learned in here too. You can do the quizzes online, but they can retake them as many times as they want, and it mixes them all up because they have them all set up in a pool. So like, I know those are Blackboard features. I have Blue and I love it. So I'm actually sometimes going to do with my face-to-face class too, kind of what they're reading. And so I had one of those. So at the beginning of the week, they're basically in charge of doing the content stuff. So they'll read their chapters, books, and then they'll take a quiz. And then I have a series of videos. Since I teach world history, there's a ton of stuff online, so I didn't feel like I needed to actually put my own lectures on there. So I spent a lot of time actually downloading and finding and putting together various videos and putting them all in there. So I put them all into a content. So basically the first part of the week is just content, learning about those particular chapters. And like this is about 300 years worth of history. And
5 weeks. Wow.
well, because we kind of the 5 weeks is it's
And week 2.
this
week
week. It's about 200 to 300.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem with the summer class. So like, that was, and so I scaled down kind of a lot of the bigger projects and things that we do in the semester long.
Especially for
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and in the semester long, it's just a lot easier because they just only, they read one chapter a week maybe, and then they do, it's just a lot less. So, and so here are the videos, and a suggestion that Laura had made was to incorporate that apparently I need to come back to Cacee, but to have a little blurb about it. And I actually used kind of the blurb that the YouTube would use as long as it was decent, so whatever. And then all my other ones, except for this week, apparently has the duration, so the students know how much time it will take, if it's a 5-minute video, if it's a 15-minute video. So that way they can kind of budget out their time. And I also use some podcasts, so that way they know if, podcasts like that. And then just the source too, and then how they're being graded. So this one, they automatically get 2 points for it as long as they watch the whole thing. So it's just kind of trying to hold them accountable for watching it. And there's a bunch there. And then, so that's kind of the content stuff. So they learn it. And then the second part of the week is to basically apply it. And that's what most of the rest of the assignments are meant to do. So each week they have something that they're submitting as a primary source. So this first week it's a chart, trying to scaffold them, right? Like they start as a chart, but then they eventually work towards their writing essays. And so each week they have one of those due. And then they also have a primary discussion group, which basically is using the sources they're going to be writing about in their essays, but using them in a discussion board so that they're talking about them and they have to comment on each other's write-ups and things like that. And then 3 of the, essentially 5 weeks, 3 of the 4 weeks, they have 1 week off, but they're doing a debate. And that's been the most fun to design. Laura's been like working frantically, I think, to try and figure out how we can do this. And she actually came up with 2 ways. One was the discussion board, and then one was with VoiceThread. And so I decided to go with VoiceThread, where they can use the comment feature, partially because people who maybe are like me, don't like the sound of the voice, can just write text, and some people can do voice, some people can video. You can comment lots of different ways on it. And so I am kind of excited about that. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work and play out. I'm going to play with it once, as far as like grading it and things like that. But this is the first debate here. So, and so these are all, so we have the content folder, the quiz, and then the discussion board, and then the essay, but then the debate. So it's basically all their assignments here. I feel like it's a lot of text, the only thing, but it's kind of all directions. I don't know. But yeah, so these are the discuss. I can kind of show you. I assigned it to them, so that I put them in groups. So it's not a big class debate; they're in small group debates. And so, and I assigned. So these will actually be filled in with the semester with their. So like, Susie and John are going to be agreeing with it, so they have to agree with the particular question and support that stance, even if they don't necessarily personally believe in it. It gets them away from. I do that in my face-to-face classes too, so that way they're not personalizing it and getting, offended. It takes away a lot of those kind of things. It also takes away the moral and ethical sometimes, where they can, and they just base it on the documents. And it also forces them to read the documents for like, okay, what are the documents actually saying? Rather than, and that way if you're saying, yes, was it good to use violence against slaves? Nobody's going to say yes to that. So, but the documents we're talking about the reasons for it.
Right.
try and force them to that sort of thing. So I can kind of. I think I required them to do 4. So this is this particular one is requiring them to use these 4 particular sources, primary sources. And so group 1 is that will answer this particular question. So they just make their comments, however, and then they have to respond to each other, which is also kind of nice because they don't have to come back to it repeatedly. And then here's group 2. And then I have a second question for them. So they actually have 3 questions they're going to answer. So group 1 will come to this one, put their comments, and then each group, and then this is the third one. So if group 2 come in there, that's kind of it. I kind of liked it. We'll see how it works or whatever. But that one, I'm kind of excited about actually being able to do that because it's one of the fun parts of the face-to-face class that I was really struggling with, like how do you do this online without like being everybody in the room or groups in a room. And we had thought about that too, like doing Zoom meetings or having small group Zoom meetings where they can set up their own groups like that. Considering it's a 1 higher level class and just my experience with the mixture of like being able to, like a lot of them can't even figure out how to submit stuff on Blackboard. So like, I'm like, I don't know. So I kind of scaled back the level, at least for the summer class.
Especially since that's 2 as well.
It's a bit intense, like, and so trying not to overwhelm them, but at the same time get through a lot of this material and get to learn a lot of the skills too. It's hard in summer class. The semester long, I'll be able to put, because typically I do a book review in there too, and a tournament. That's the one other assignment that they have that I haven't talked about, I guess. In week 5, kind of their whole main thing is to do a presentation, tournament presentation. This was another thing we kind of played around with a bit. So down here is the very last one. So basically, I'm having them submit it as a discussion board, but I'm having them save it as a PDF, and so then they also have to comment on each other's. So of course, it's up to not only create their own presentation with particular expectations, but also look at each other's. As a presentation, you would. And that was something else I kind of struggled with, how exactly they'll do it. So things that I'm probably going to work on in the future is playing around with different formats and how to do those particular assignments. But and so, yeah, that's kind of the class thing. Online learning has my online learning and teaching changed. I learned a lot of tools, especially, but also how you need to be very attention to detail, I guess. So like, if you're doing something one way in week 1, you need to do it the same way in week 2. Otherwise students, they get lost very easily, which I totally get. But like when you're designing it, you don't think about it, or at least I wasn't. So trying to be more cognizant of consistent and trying to constantly be looking at it from the learner's perspective. And I thought the course was incredibly helpful. So the meetings were helpful. Laura was amazing. Having somebody actually want to help was really, I think, essential, actually. I don't know that I have any suggestions to make as far as that. But do you guys have any questions? Or 60 questions?
That's good.
Any suggestions?
I especially love the color.
Yeah.
I can see where.
That actually stole that from somebody, and I have no idea who it was, but I totally stole that from somebody else. But yeah, I think I'm a visual learner, so I would like to do. And I think it was Laura's idea to put that down there. A lot of this is probably I don't know. I can take credit for most of it. But.
Well, it hits home because I do that too.
Yeah, yeah. So.
And I only think of this because we get hammered with it as well. Watch colors, because you've got green and red.
Yeah.
And you've got the red during colorblind issue.
Yeah.
It may.
Would that mean they wouldn't be able to see it at all, or they just wouldn't see the color?
They don't see the color. They see
So,
it
like
as
black,
gray or
it's gray.
black, whatever. They missed it.
Yeah, they can't distinguish one from
Between
the
it,
other.
yeah. That's good.
So they appear the same.
Yeah. Well, and it's not essential by any means.
Right.
It's not like it was, I don't think, sure.
And sometimes their monitor may be correct as well.
Like change.
or some purple, it depends on the hues, they can't see it at all, it just disappears.
See, that would be, yes. Because that would be bad.
They can tell you that.